Welcome back, guys. This is Kiwi. Today I'm going to be going over how you can combine the VRAM of two graphics cards. You can do this so that you don't have to spend excess money on buying one really powerful GPU. I think this is very useful because it allows you to run large models that you couldn't have ran before. I will be doing this with two AMD cards, so it's not NVIDIA specific or AMD specific. You should actually be able to do it with an NVIDIA card and an AMD card. I really wanted to share this with you guys because I think it's very interesting information and could be very valuable in some people's hands. Well, let's get to it. So we are here now on LM Studio. You can use any other application if you want to. Most of them should be able to support this, but I'm just using this one because it's the most convenient for me. Now first off, if we go to our hardware and settings, you'll notice I have an R9 390 and an R9 290. Also notice one has 8 gigs of VRAM and one has 4 gigs of VRAM. So these are not in any way, shape, or form linked to each other. I fundamentally just put in two graphics cards. This is really important because this does not require an SLI bridge, a Crossfire bridge, or any sort of link between these cards. You fundamentally only need to put them in your computer. So now that we have both these cards in, you'll notice that I have this option in strategy called split evenly, right? Split evenly. You can split the memory, this should more say proportionally, but you can split the memory proportionally across GPUs. Okay, so let's run some examples of this. So first off, let's disable the R9 290X and just mess with the 390. Remember from before, this only has 8 gigabytes of VRAM, so we should not be able to load ChatGPT on here because it's nearly 12 gigabytes. If you notice in the bottom corner, failed to load model, this is the case. Now, if we turn on the R9 290X, right, so we give ourselves the extra 4, now when we try to load ChatGPT, you'll notice that it'll actually work. See that? They're both loading it into the VRAM buffers. If you also notice here, flipping between these graphs really quick, it proportionally allocates the VRAM, meaning it only allocated 3.1 gigabytes to this 290 and it allocated 6.7 to the other. This is very important. You can use like a 24 gigabyte card with a 2 gigabyte card and it will be 26. Now I wouldn't recommend doing this, but this is something I would like people to know. So if you have a really nice card and let's say you just can't load this model because you're a gigabyte or so off, it could potentially be a last resort that you could do something like that. Now if we look and we're on ChatGPT, we can run a little test here and notice as normal ChatGPT will respond just like that. One thing you may be concerned with is this 80% figure. That's just because I'm recording, so don't worry about this 80% in this chart. But notice ChatGPT worked. Now a different question you may be wondering is, what is the performance? Is there a performance trade-off? Well, I think the easiest way to test this is going to be with the DeepSeek R1 model. If we load DeepSeek R1 first on the R9 390X right here, we can run a test message. So of course, DeepSeek being DeepSeek, it doesn't understand English half the time, and so it's gonna poop us out something in like Japanese or Chinese here. It also thought for 10 seconds, which is very interesting. But all you really care about is this tokens per second. So we got about 15 tokens per second on one graphics card. Now what if we enable our slower brother? Will it hold us back? So first we have to eject it, and then we can reload the DeepSeek. And then we can run it, and it will go right as soon as it loads, and there it goes. If you notice here, it seems about the same speed. And when it finishes, Of course, you know, DeepSeek always mean DeepSeek. We just took a very small performance hit, only about a token per second or so. It's almost within the margin of error. So one thing to note is this: if you have a bunch of GPUs, you're not actually typically going to get a performance gain. Typically it will be a performance loss, but a very small one. Now I do want to make sure people note this, so having to begin with fast GPUs will make a big difference. Like let's say you have a Tesla M40 or something like that. Then you have a really good starting base, and they're very cheap cards, so you can buy 5 or 6 of these cards. And because they're to begin with already fast, you can then have a fast 60 some gigabyte card for a measly cost of maybe $300. So this could be a really effective way for someone to run super large large language models or image generation models, and not having to pay for the thousands of dollars that is typically required in buying some 60 something gigabyte card. Anyways, I just really wanted to upload this because I thought it was really cool. Anyway, I hope to see you around sometime soon.